Children, today we will start with the first chapter of our physics, that is motion.
Children, before starting motion, let me ask you one question, that is whether you all are at rest or in motion. So definitely some students will say that we all are at rest, and some may say we are in motion, because you all have an idea that earth is moving, and since you all are on the earth, so with the earth you are also moving. But students, this concept rest and motion completely depends on the frame of reference point. Okay, so according to that, I will define the term rest first. An object is said to be at rest if it doesn't change its position with respect to time and surrounding. Time will go on, but the position of the object will remain constant. That is called as rest. Similarly, motion. An object is said to be in motion if it changes its position with respect to time and surrounding. If the object is changing its position with respect to time and surrounding, then the object is said to be in motion. Students, now the next thing is motion is a relative concept. How motion is a relative concept? Relative means what? If for someone any object is moving, then for some other it may be at rest. That's why the motion is said to be a relative concept. Okay, so for example, I would like to give you one example through the slide. I will make you understand. You all can see the diagram below. A passenger is moving through a train. Then for the passenger, he is thinking that he is moving forward, and the houses, the trees which are at outside, they all are moving backwards. But are they moving actually? No, but they appears to be moving to the passenger. Okay, so that's why the motion is said to be relative. One more example I would like to share with you. Suppose two boys A and B are sitting inside the train, and C is sitting in the platform. Suppose the train started moving, then what will happen? For A, B is at rest, and for B, A is also at rest. But for C, both A and B are moving. For C, A is moving. For C, B is also in motion. So for someone, the same person, the same object may be at rest or it may be in motion. That's why the motion is always a relative concept. One more example, students, let me tell you the physical quantities. Okay, so what do we mean by physical quantities? First thing is the quantities which are measurable, means we can measure the quantities. They are called as the physical quantities. For example, length, mass, time, temperature, all these quantities, children, we can measure. So they are called as physical quantities. So there are two types of physical quantities, as you can see in the slide. So the first type of physical quantity is a scalar quantity. So what do we mean by a scalar quantity? Children, let me adjust it. So scalar quantities, they are the physical quantities which are specified with the magnitude or the size alone. It has only some numerical value, that is the magnitude. They are known as the scalar quantities. And vector quantities, the physical quantities which have both the magnitude as well as the direction, they are called as the vector quantities. So examples of scalar quantities are length, speed, work, mass, density. All these quantities, they have only magnitudes. But vector quantities, they are, we can say, displacement, force, torque, momentum, acceleration. Children, they all are called as vector quantities because they have magnitude as well as some specified direction. The next slide is, children, it is about the distance and displacement. Children, the distance is a scalar quantity, whereas the displacement is a vector quantity. distance, you all can see the diagram. Distance is the actual path followed by the object. Okay children, so you all can see A to B. A is a point, B is a point. The actual path followed by object to move from A to B is called as the distance. But the shortest distance between the points of movement, that is A to B, the straight line, that is called as the displacement. So children, you can follow any path for the distance covered. We can go in any way, but displacement is the shortest distance. It is, the direction is from A to B only. So it is called as a vector quantity. Next, let us do one example. So before that example, children, now let us discuss about the difference between the distance and displacement. So first is distance. So distance is what, as I said, the actual path followed by any object is called as the distance. Which path it is following? Okay, it may follow any path, that is called as the distance covered. But displacement is the shortest distance between the points of movement. Only the shortest distance is called as the displacement, and the direction is from initial point to the final point. The secondly, distance is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity means, as I told you before, that it is only having magnitude, some numerical values. But displacement is a vector quantity. Vector means it is having the magnitude as well as the direction. Next is, it is always greater than or equal to displacement. Children, the distance may be greater or equal. It will never be less than the displacement. It will always greater or equal to displacement. But displacement is always less than or equal to distance. Next is, it cannot be zero for moving object. Suppose an object has moved some distances, then the distance cannot be zero, but the displacement can be zero. So here also I would like to give you one example. Suppose any object is moving in a circular track. Its initial and final points are same. Then the displacement will be zero, because the shortest distance between the initial and the final position is zero. So next, here is one numerical for your distance and displacement. An athlete completes one round of a circular track of diameter 200 meter in 40 seconds. Then the question is, what will be the distance covered and the displacement at the end of 2 minutes 20 seconds. So in many ways we can do. So I have tried here only one way. So given the diameter is given here 200 meter. If the diameter is given, then easily we can find out the radius of the circular track. So r will be d divided by 2, that is equal to 100 meter. Now what is the circumference of circular path? That is 2 pi r. That is 2 pi into 100, that is equal to 200 pi meter. And given that the athlete completes one round in 40 seconds or 40 seconds, it covers a distance of 200 pi meter. Then in 1 second, how much distance it will cover? So we have to divide 200 pi divided by 40. Next step, you can put the value of pi, that is 200 into 22 by 7 divided by 40. Okay, next is the athlete runs for 2 minutes 20 seconds. Now we can convert it into seconds. Children, 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So 2 minutes will be equal to 60 into 2, that is 120 seconds, and plus 20 seconds will be 140 seconds. So how much distance is covers in 140? So that quantity we have to multiply by 140. Then we will get the answer, that is 2200 meter. So the total distance covered is equal to 2200 meter. Next children, the question is, what will be the displacement? Okay, for displacement, let me explain you first. Children, in 2 minutes 20 seconds, how many circles or what will be? Children, so it will cover how many circles we have to first calculate. Okay, so this is the time required to cover one circle is 40 seconds. The total time is given 140 seconds. So 140 by 40, that is the number of rounds. It is 3.5. That is 3 complete rounds and 1 half round, half circle. So 3 complete round means the displacement will be 0, and half circle means the displacement will be diameter. So the diameter is how much? 200 meter. So the displacement here will be 200 meter. Children, the next one is uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So uniform motion, the definition is an object is said to be in uniform motion if it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. So if in equal intervals it covers equal distances, then that type of motion is called as uniform motion. For example, suppose in 1 second any object covers 2 meters, 2 seconds it covers 4 meters, 3 seconds it covers 6 meters, then it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. Then the motion of the object is said to be uniform motion. Secondly, the object is said to be in non-uniform motion if it covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time. For example, the example of uniform motion is movement of hands of a watch. Okay, it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. Similarly, non-uniform motion, a car moving in a crowded road. So sometimes it is very fast, sometimes it is slow, sometimes it has to apply the brakes and come to 0 speed. So this motion is called as non-uniform motion. I will show the graph, children. The first graph is of uniform motion and the second graph is for non-uniform motion. As you all can see, the uniform motion, the graph is a straight line passing through the origin. You can see the time interval in the x-axis and the distance covered in y-axis. So in equal interval of time, the distance covered are same, constant. That's why the graph is a straight line. But in case of non-uniform motion, the time interval, the distance covered in the time interval is not equal. Okay, so that's why the graph is a curved line. So children, for today this much. So in our next class we will go with the next slides and next topics. So thank you all.